Hello and welcome to a new series, Summer Snowfields. We started that today. Part 1, Block In. Summer Snowfields is up in Rocky Mountain National Park, and I came across it at one of my treks up there last summer. And this is part of my Alpine series, so we're going through that step by step. Today, as I said, was Block In, and that means we put in thin value colors and tried to balance out this drawing and make sure we started with some shapes, some basic shapes, put in some value color, and did some design work because we eliminated a lot of trees and created a cirque or a snowfield, kind of a bowl where snow gathers, and makes these neat designs that only you can find in alpine country. So get outside and explore your local country and look for places to paint. Don't drive around all day looking for a place to paint. Too many times people just drive for the perfect place. So just find a place that feels comfortable and give it a try. Paint with your friends, get critiques, and don't be intimidated by a white canvas. Start painting. All right, so enough of intro. Let's get into the painting itself. All right, thanks for coming by for Summer Snowfields. Bye. Welcome to part 1 of Summer Snowfields. Again, I'm George Call, here with another 3-part series. I think I'm working on a 12 by 16 canvas on Gator board. And I've got my home row keys here, 2 blues, ultra, cobalt, alizarin, cad red, yellow ochre, cad orange. My 3 yellows, I think that's a Hansa yellow deep, a Hansa medium, and this is like a lemon yellow, or what did we call this one? This is a Holbein color, and it is just a one brilliant yellow. Bismuth yellow, that's it. Transparent oxide red, and this should be transparent oxide brown, but it is not because I ran out and I'm working on burnt umber. Darn it, I'm going to miss my good old transparent oxide brown. Titanium white down here in the lower right, and I don't know what this is on the left. It's left over from somewhere. Looks like I've got a pretty wide number 8, a 4, and these are kind of my old scrubbies. They're like number 2s, and a number 4. That's more for kind of figuring out where my shapes are going to be here today. Probably these guys are only going to be used in part 1 where I'm working on my, my block in. So today's block in, we want to cover this whole canvas within our 30-minute session here. I've got my Gamsol solvent right here. This is over to my right, and I think got my palette knives, various other things, scrapers, and some stuff to just kind of keep things loose. Soften edges over here, these big wide guys. Okay, I like this image, but I think what I want to concentrate more on is the snowfields in shadow down in here in the shade. I think this big tree could probably go, or maybe go over to the left. I'm not quite sure where to put it. Don't know if I really like him where he's at right now. So I think there's 2 things that I want to accomplish with this painting. And one is the detail in this jagged mountain up in Rocky Mountain National Park, up in this area, and really show some detail on all that stuff that is going on within that mountain. There's shadows and crags and bright rocks and small snowfields in various places. So I want to kind of tell the story about all that. But at the same time, I want to balance this. So I'm going to reduce some of these trees in the front and show more snowfields here in the shadow. Haven't decided yet, but I might put another mountain coming in from the left just to kind of balance out this slope that's seriously going down to the lower left. All right, I think that's enough intro. So let's get started with some shapes. So I'm going to get my trusty paper towels here and get a mixing knife. Looks like my trusty T7. And I'm just going to come up with some sort of a gray. So, so I'm just going to go with some blue and a little bit of raw sienna, burnt sienna, and some, lighten that up a little bit. And that might be all I need to try to figure out where some of these shapes are going to be. So I'm going to mix some Gamsol in here, and just so it's not real dark. So I think I'm going to have a hill up in here somewhere. I might make him a little larger. Looks like snowfields coming down here. And then there's kind of a ridge right here. Kind of right in here there's a ridge. Might have a mountain coming in from here. Now I know just below center there's kind of some trees, and then we start with the snowfields. And more snowfields. I'm going to change the angle here of the snowfields. And let me see. So I know there are these trees that go right up in here, this dark area. And I'll put a snowfield over here. I'll lower these snowfields. So it's kind of a natural cirque in here, and all right, let me get back and see if this is working. Now, as you can see, it's a high contrast painting. I've got all these brights up here, and I've got these real good darks down below here. But let me see if I can move this gray over a little bit. And start a new mixture. Switch over to a slightly larger brush. Looks like a number 4. It's called a Pro Stroke. Must have been a flat at one time, and I've made it into a filbert just because I used it so much. And give me 1 second here to step back one more time and take a good look at this. And I want to come up with a good mixture here with the lights and with these darks. So let's get into kind of let me get some cold gray out if I could. Just to kind of help me along. This is Cold Gray by Remington 717. Time to mix, a little gray, a little white. Let's make some sort of a green. This is a blue and a yellow ochre. I think I could use a little green somewhere on my palette. Let me add a little green up in there. Let's get this warm thing going here. Just a touch of green. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to throw some more gray into this darker mixture. And a little bit more green into it. And I'm going to go in here with the light. And right or wrong, I'm just going to go in here and get this base color in here. So that's my lighter stuff here. I think it even goes lighter as we go down. So I'll add some more white. Just a little bit more white, a little bit more terp to keep this thin. And the whole major thing here is to stay thin in this stage of the painting. Now you see why my brushes get so worn down. I'm using the side of them so much. Everybody wants to use the end of it. Not too much in a hurry. And I think I want to try to, it's kind of a snow area up in here. And I think there's some darks in here too. We'll just leave the snowfields white, or canvas color for now. So I'm just using some paper towel here to keep things thin. Add a little blue ultra to this mixture and come up with a background mountain here. I don't know if I'll use that or not, but we'll see. Okay, I've got a little gray here, and I'm mixing that into the here to see how this area looks in gray. Too dark. Geez, it looked perfect on my palette, but got to test it. Final test is right up in here. Yeah, maybe this guy doesn't work at all. Over to the left. I think I'll say goodbye to him. All right. And let me thin my darks in on the left side because there's more light on the left side and more dark on the right. Just did it with paper towels. All right, you don't have to be perfect in this, but the shapes have to be in the right place. Try to get a value down there. That's what we're trying to get here for to get started here. Let me try some white and transparent oxide brown. Transparent oxide red. And I see some of that down in this area down in here. I'm going to put a little yellow in there to balance him out a little. Just a touch of Hansa Yellow Deep. A little bit more titanium. And I'll put some in a few other places. Okay. Now we start thinking about our darks here. Let's start with a smaller brush and figure out some of these details of where these trees are going to be around these snowfields. And I'm changing the direction of my snowfield over here, trying to read what's going on here in the reference, and I can't quite see, but I'm going to have a snowfield going this way, and then going this way, kind of to show that there's a cirque here, or a bottom of a cup or something like that would be a better way to describe it. So let me get some ultra blue into this green, and burnt sienna, blue, burnt sienna, and let's see how this is working. I want to just have a touch of, get a little bit of Gamsol in here. Looks like we have trees and rocks, and we'll give space to both. I don't know if that's going to work over here yet or not. So down here I'm kind of flying out of my imagination here. I'm using some of the ideas that I'm getting from the reference. And let's see if the cirques go down here. Let's get some trees coming down here. I haven't figured out what to do here yet. There's a big rock in there. Might use that rock. So now let's go back to gray, and it's a little too greasy down here. Too much solvent in here already. But let's try to show that there's shadow up in here. And I'm going to lighter shadow too. Some of that in here. And again, I'm going to start putting some, let's see, this would be snowfield here, and snowfield here. And let me see how this is coming together. I think I could probably bring this down a little bit. And then I have to bring my trees back. And I'm running out of precious space. So I just go back to my burnt sienna and my ultra blue. All right, so this is kind of a snow configuration down there. It's starting to come. Okay, I'm getting back and looking pretty good. change this shape just to give a little bit more balance to the snowfields coming down this way. So let me go back to this gray. Too much turpin here. Let me get a little bit more gray. And sooner or later, some neat little design is going to come out of here. And I think that might be it. Looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 snowfields in here. Cool. All right. So a lot of times, when I'm starting with beginners, they say, well, I don't see that in there. And what I'm always saying is, you need balance. If you have a big triangle at the lower left of your painting or something, put something in there to make it, besides just a big piece of grass or something. You want to try to get some things in there that are going to enhance the painting and create some interest, and that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to move this gray over a little bit, and I want to get some sky color in here and work on that next. So I'm going to bring back some of my gray that I mixed up in here into my white, and I'm going to let's use some phthalo blue red, just to see if we can come up with some sort of interest in the sky. As you can see, there's some blue coming through in the reference, and I'm going to work with that. So let's see how this looks on canvas. It looks right on here, but let's see how it does here. A little too dark. And here's a shade lighter now. And we'll use this as our balance point here. These are kind of coming in at an angle to kind of be at a different angle than everything sloping down here. This is my big slope here I'm trying to balance out a little. All right. Let's clean this brush a little bit and get the gray white in. Come on. What happened? Somebody got too much gray in here. Not the prettiest cloud cover I ever put in, but I'm going to go with it for now. Because the important thing I'm trying to do is cover a lot of canvas right now with, my best shot at a value color. And try to keep it thin. Titanium's hard to put in thin, unless you get some Gamsol in it. Let me get back and see how we're looking. Check my time. Ooh, looking nice, okay. Let's do a little snowfield look here, okay? I'm going to move the sky over here, move my gray back to gray, and start a new mixture here. Now I have some contamination on my glass, but I want to put a little bit of cobalt in here because I'm trying to tell my viewer that my snowfield is in shadow. That might be too much. Okay, let me see how this works. I'm going to switch over, I think, to a little bit more refined brush out of a different pile here that I did not put out this morning. And I'm going to use a number 4 rosemary, long filbert 278. I just dipped it into my turp to get it loose, and then I really dried it out with my paper towel. I don't know if you saw that off camera. And I'm going to put these in to try to get a sense of how my balance is. And fill in these spaces. Try to have some sort of fine connection down here. And I think I have more snowfields up in here. It's not a very good shape, and I can refine that tomorrow or the next day. And get another snowfield up in here. I think we also need granite rocks, right? So we'll put in some of this darker gray stuff for that. And we'll put gray. And more gray. And working some grays into some areas that I just don't want to overdo everything with gray. And probably gray down in here somewhere. All right. Since I have some of this lighter gray, I'm going to go up here and put some of that lighter stuff in various places up in here. I'm going to thin my sky out with my Connoisseur 6810, just to make sure it's thin up here. And it softened the edges too, see? All right. I don't know if this is too busy down here. I might have to kill a snowfield or two down here. It's too busy looking. Sometimes I can make a better judgment when I'm away for a few minutes, come back and look at it. I might be oversaying this, stating the obvious here, that there's a circ. How am I doing on time? Good. Now, I have these grays. And I'm going to go over into a little bit darker area with this number 4 and try to just get some darker darks. It's a little too dark. Let me lighten that down just a little bit. And I'm just trying to blob in some darks in the right neighborhood. If you try to over detail it now, you're going to be just struggling with it. Just try to get it in the right neighborhood. There's a really nice dark that comes down and breaks this area here. And then there's a shadow kind of comes this way here. It goes all the way off over here. Now we're starting to see, oh, there's a lot going on up there. And again, over on the more left side, and then there's a shadow right on the hill here. And then there's a little, I think he's bigger, he's littler. And this guy has to be taller. I might even make this go over farther. Now I know there's some lighter stuff on this side, so I'll just go back and add some light here. See, I'm just picking up some light from wherever on my palette and getting some, just a slight bit lighter in a few places. There's some great shadows coming across here. I don't know if this is the brush to do it, but they break off over into here. And then it's a bunch of little shadow areas, but just as significant and important. Now, as I go below the summit part of the mountain, I see some deep shadows that are, that's a little too much, sorry about that. They kind of show there's a break here, kind of shows a disturbance or change in the upper to the lower. One's a little warmer on the bottom and one's a little cooler on top. And what I see somewhere over in this area is a nice bright area. So I'm going to get some of my warm that I have here and some of my sky color. I think that's sky color. And there is a bright over in here. And it kind of comes down this way a little bit. Let me get some warm in here. I may have had too much Hansa yellow deep in this mixture, but it's working. And there's a bright right up in here too. This is a little bit too consistent. I'm going to have to get some things in there to break that up. It's a little too dark too. I see this as a little bit lighter, but in shade. And I'm going to put some of the same mixture I have here. I don't know, it's sky color and a little bit of gray. And work that in, keeping this a little lighter in the gray area. And I think I'll bring the light down a little bit lower. Let me clean my brush. And I'm going to go back to that warm mixture I have, and I'm going to put more in right in here. because I see that in the reference. So I'll put that in here. Wow, a lot going on out there, a lot of fun detail to get into. Let me get back and take a look at it and see how we're doing. Well, I think we're in the neighborhood. I think we're doing okay. And we have a few minutes left. All right, so I think what I might determine when I come back tomorrow morning is if I have too many, if I'm saying too much about this cirque right here, the snowfield in the shade. So if that's the case, I might knock one out or two out or reshape them to, so it doesn't say big cirque, we want little cirque. And but I've eliminated a lot of the big trees in the front here, as you can see, for putting this snowfield idea in that I had. So, I still don't know what to do over here in the lower right. I'll think about that off camera and see if we can come up with something. Okay, so with that, that is part one of Summer Snowfields in Rocky Mountain National Park. And this was block-in. We've covered the whole canvas, except for we don't know what to do over here. With value color. So thank you very much for coming by for part one, and I'll put this up on YouTube as well as Uscreen, and you can look at this as much as you want and give it a try. All right. Thanks, and bye-bye.